All right, it's 12:30. Let's get started. Do we have any public comments? Oh, excuse me. Any public comments? Any public comments? All righty, we have two sets of minutes, one for the 8th and one for the 11th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hi, Dwayne.
Good morning, supervisors, or afternoon, I guess. Used to this. As I said before the meeting, we received our markup check plans back for the 2025 seal coat program. I've got the changes made on that, and you guys signed off on that, so as soon as I get the revised signature page from Henry County, we'll submit that for a September letting for a late start date of May 15th next year.
Mhm.
So that project is pretty much in the tank and ready to go. I heard from a representative, Marionette Miller Meek's office Friday afternoon. Our grant for 1/10 has made it through committee. We applied for $3,040,000. They approved it for $3 million. So a little bit more than 1% cut is not a bad outcome for that. It still has to make it through the full House and then Senate and get signed, but we're heading on the right track. I am going to delay the letting on that till July next year, so we can apply for T-SIP money for the safety improvements, which should get us around $300,000 of state money to go towards our $600,000 local grant or match. So fingers crossed, that should help the cause.
Sign up.
Then Friday, we opened the quote for our portable traffic signals. We only had one bidder on that. I was kind of surprised with the preliminary interest that we only had one bidder. But our grant for those traffic signals was $60,000, up to $60,000, and the bid came in at $58,500. So we're well within our limits on that, so we'll go ahead and get those ordered.
Okay.
Then I had a Maria Hom contact the office with concerns about the Stockport Road and Glasgow Road intersection, requesting that we put rumble strips heading northbound on Stockport Road. Because she was afraid that people may run through that intersection and have an accident, obviously. I pulled 10 years of data off the IDOT crash analysis website. We have not had a crash of any sort on that intersection in 10 years. We've only had 4 accidents on Stockport Road in 10 years, 3 of which were animal, and 1 was losing control and running off the road. So I would recommend not spending any money on that intersection
I think we have worse ones.
at this time.
Well, and I was just down there this weekend, down through there, and the sight distance is really pretty good.
You have to be, if you're looking at your phone, I could see where it would be an issue, and that's unfortunately, that's the case with almost any intersection you can think of. Is, you guys know I do a lot of driving. I don't see many people on their phones in the morning when I'm driving down here because there aren't many people, but on my way home, there's a lot of people looking at their phone while they're driving 75 mile an hour down the interstate, looking like this with one hand on the wheel, and it's amazing. It's amazing there's not more accidents, but is there anything else I have on my list? I think that is it, folks.
All right. Thanks.
So,
I just want to, Dwayne and I, where we had conversations about Livingston timber, and Bob called me the other day and they're working on that, so I just say thank you. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, meet with interim ambulance director. Hi, Judy.
Hey, guys. So, did you all get the email about the rigs? We had some issues with the ambulance. 52, one of the airbags deflated. We were able to get it looked at and, we were able to get it to work. It is working. It's going into Fessler's on Friday at 1 o'clock. That's as soon as it can go in. There's a pretty bad shimmy on the front of it. Of course, 52 is like the money pit for all of us.
Is that the one that we had done over in Mount Pleasant?
I believe so, yes, yes, that is the one that the, what do you call it, the locks on the wheel for four-wheel drive was left in, and they ran it, and it did all that damage to the wheels and stuff. 53, they went to assist in Eldon on a medical call, and when they took the cot out, there's like a piece on the striker, auto load system that has been broken. I did call Ryan from Stryker today. He's gonna have the rep that services this area get in contact with me so we can get both that one repaired and looked at because it's still under warranty. It's just a screw. It's a bolt that they need to put in, but since it's under warranty, I'm like, don't touch it, just leave it alone. We'll make sure that Stryker comes out and looks at it. And then they're gonna look at 52s as well. We're having problems getting it to release when you bring the cot out with the patient on it. So since we still have that contract through Stryker, Ryan said we would just take a look at both of them when he's down here. And hopefully within the next couple days, he should.
When
be
who's down here?
I forget what I think he said the guy name is Leon, I believe, but it was Ryan through Stryker who I contact. He's always been the person that I contacted. But there's another gentleman that comes down here and helps, and I think he said his name is Leon. Don't quote me on that.
So is there an installation problem on that one, since that's the new rig?
No, I just think it's when Eldon Fire or somebody went to pull it out, they just pulled too hard before releasing that button, and it just took the screw out, is from what I understand. So all three rigs are up and going, everything's good there, so I mean, still use them. 53, it's only if we have to, until we can get that screw looked at, just because of the locking mechanism for the cot. I did get a letter from the Greater Jefferson County Fund. Once I filled this out and sent it in, it's a tentative $21,000 grant to approve us to get a new Lucas device that I had submitted back in May, I believe it was. So all I gotta do is fill this out and send it back to them. So they granted us that.
How much is the Lucas device?
It's just a little bit over 20,000. I think it's 20,500 and something, I believe. I don't have the exact quote, but I know it's less than 21,000. It's close, but not a whole 21,000. Billing's coming along good. I know you asked me last week to let you know how much it was that we had billed out prior to us being approved for Medicare, Medicaid. I ran those numbers.
Thank you.
It looks like right now it's 170,213.59. As of the 9th, we have collected $6,228.20 of that. I'm still working very diligently with Cheyenne through the billing company to see if they're gonna help, cover some of this cost, since it was their error on their part of not getting the application sent back through like they're supposed to. We're looking at potentially, if they were to do it, it's only gonna be about $20-some thousand. Now, mind you, this is not the contractual agreement. This is
Right.
our top dollar. So, I mean, if we get, say, 50% of it, we're looking at about $85,000 maybe.
Thanks
if we
for
can get
checking.
it.
Well, I want to back up for a second. I'm confused, but I'm easily confused. So, what's the difference? Where's the 20,000 and the 85?
The
I understand
85 is
contractually
if they
get
were to pay.
50%.
Yes.
Okay,
Now, if the billing company does anything, she doesn't think they're gonna do much more than $20-some thousand. to reimburse this, but we're still working on it. She's gonna have a meeting on Tuesday with her higher ups, and then she's gonna contact me and let me know.
So where did they come up?
This is just her rough
$20,000
figures. This is just her rough figures right now, because some of those include the transfers from JCHC to other facilities per our hospital contract, and I think that's about $53,000 in just that short span that we're going to bill to the hospital for those. Because the contract does state that we could go back to, they agreed to go back to October 1st and start that contract when we signed it, from what I understand. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've got to report. Everything seems to be going good at the base.
So
No
on
staff
the
issues.
hospital contract,
Uh-huh.
we've been building the hospital all along.
We have not, that is part of her meeting on Tuesday. They're still going through the logistics, the legal terms of the contract. Every time I talk to Cheyenne, I'm like, when's this coming out? When's this coming out? She said, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, she will have an invoice to bill JCHC from everything from October 1st to current.
So their legal is looking at it.
Their legal team is looking at it and making sure that we're following the contract, and they're only charging JCHC for what is per our contract with
Okay.
them. So there's like 2 or 3 different people on their legal team, she said, that's working on that. And hopefully within 2 weeks, she said we should have a invoice to send to them. So that's any questions? Pretty much what I got. Anything?
So I got a question.
Yeah.
We've got a closed session that's supposed to be on the agenda for 1 o'clock, right?
Yes.
It's on the agenda here at least. You requested that, right? I just wanted to make sure, I was hoping we could streamline this because we're all here now. Is there, I guess, what would the reason for that closed session be? Because I'm not sure if we can do it if there's not the right code section to authorize it, you know?
Yeah, I think the code section would be,
I'm sorry. William?
I'm Paul Grove.
Okay,
So I think the code section is under the open meetings, what is it, 21(1)I?
okay.
Performance review, as it's listed, I think.
That's what's listed. I don't know that we're doing a performance review, so,
Right, so I think we're gonna go ahead and do it in open session.
okay,
So understanding there's some pushback, we'll go ahead and have it in open session then.
perfect.
So should we just do that now?
Why, do we want to do it now or do it at 1
Do
o'clock?
it now? I mean,
Well, we're not finished with the agenda, number one.
Before we go on, there's some ambulance folks here. I want to know if they're working today.
Yes, they are. They're just out and about. They have nothing to do with any of this. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And do you have an ambulance here?
Just a question. Can we do that since it's not on the agenda? I mean, we've got meet with interim director then, and we've got the same thing here. So is that okay at 1? Doesn't matter to me, but I just thought,
Yeah, it's up to you guys. It's all practically the same, right? Whether we have that meeting now or later. And what's left on the agenda is just reports, right?
The safety manual.
Safety
I
manual.
know, yeah,
I can touch on that if you'd like.
yeah,
Okay.
So the safety manual has been promulgated by the safety committee. It was on the agenda last week. Elizabeth's been taking point on that. She strongly encourages that if we're going to, have this, that it be authorized and approved. It will impact our insurance bottom line. It is approved by the safety committee, but it needs consideration by the board and approval or change. I think last week when we talked about it, there were some minor tweaks that could be called for, but I don't know if we went too in depth with it.
Yeah, no, the only concern I had was, it really wasn't a concern, it was just a question about, and I think I got an answer, because Abby found it for me, was the vaccination. And it states in here that I can't remember the page it's on, but that it's not a mandatory vaccination, and we alert the employee of possible issues regarding if you get the vaccination and protection for the county.
Lee, hey, Lee, it's Chris. Just to
Oh.
clarify, that has been part of routine immunizations since 1991. So as an employer, you're supposed to recommend or offer this vaccination to everyone. And then at that point in time, upon hire, the department head should review that to ensure the vaccination has already been administered, previously in that individual's life, or then at that time, then they need to sign the declination. Is to protect you if there's an exposure from any type of hepatitis or any other communicable disease that is spread through body fluids or a dirty needle stick.
Right, and I appreciate that, Chris, because I got that clarification and the ability, I don't want to say this, informing the employee that they have the right to decline and
Right.
this and that and whatnot. So that was.
Yep,
the
and
only question I
then
had.
that declination form should go into their employee record. So if there's ever an exposure and the employee declined that immunization, then there would be no question. So
Right.
that's kind of where that is. And that's pretty standard practice with that. So I just wanted to hop on. I know that was a question last week and I wasn't on Zoom, so.
Yeah, that was me, so I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Hey, Chauncey, I just need to say this right quick. There's a couple of, I read through this morning. There's a couple of typos. So, I mean, the supervisors could approve it. We could just tweak the verbiage. I did leave Elizabeth a message, but it's hectic. But as a member of the safety committee, we've been working on this for a year and a half. And I think it's completed. We had a safety meeting last week. There's just a few little semantics. There's just a couple little typos with the verbiage that just needs to be cleaned up, but.
Why don't we fix the typos before we approve it? That way we
Uh-huh.
don't, why don't we fix the typos before we approve it? That way we don't have to reapprove it.
Where are they?
Well, you can, or you could make the motion to approve with the recommended, I mean, it's just like the words in the wrong spot, or they didn't put Jefferson County Health Center. I mean, it's nothing procedurally. So I don't know. I left Elizabeth a message, so I was trying to get it taken care of before the meeting today and it didn't happen. So anyway, or you can put it back on the agenda for next week. It doesn't matter, but we've been working on it for a year and a half, so I'd really like to see it move forward. Procedurally, it's not going to change anything in the copy of the manual that you guys currently have.
It just looks cleaner.
Right. But I mean, could they not make the motion to approve it with the changes?
If
I
we
mean,
want to
with-
go through and enumerate those changes, but why don't we just clean it up and put it
Hold
back
it.
on the
Alright.
agenda
Okay.
later?
That's
Does that,
fine.
does that work for you?
All right,
I mean, we could talk about the substantive issues here and tangentially approve it, but it would just be
That's-
easy to do it once and twice, you know?
Yeah, that's totally fine. So then I requested Abby put it back on the agenda for next week.
Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let me speak. Thanks.
all right, committee reports.
I have none.
I had Rust board meeting, pretty much straightforward. We discussed the, or not discuss, well, we did discuss, but we approved the, that's what I'm looking for, discontinuation of the 2080 agreement with, public health effective in September. I don't remember the date, 18th, I think. Don't quote me on the date, but it is in September. And we did that by resolution just to make it.
Is that the one with environmental help? Environmental help.
Yeah. I don't think I had
Okay.
anything else other than physical therapy, which that's always fun.
I went to
Not-
one of those Brazilian ag committees and there was somebody from DNR where they were talking about composting food, so that was interesting. Nothing tangible from there. Allow claims and approve reports. It's my understanding there are no claims because Darcy's on vacation, correct? Yes. All right. So do we adjourn this meeting and go into the other one, or it's all under the same, or do we wait till 1 o'clock?
Because it's on the agenda at 1, we should probably wait to 1.
All right.
Didn't go straight through.
So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
So what happens if you push that blue button? Does it go?
It just inflates it a little bit.
Oh, I see, okay, kind of like a football helmet.
We just go through that button, okay?
Okay, if you say so.
I'll see if I get it, right? If it pushes that button, if I get it.
Let's see.
Are you sending me a message?
Yep.
Okay,
Did you bruise your arm when you did your 2.5 gainer?
yeah, underneath my eyelid. and
I
then
saw that. I
my
just hadn't
cheekbone.
saw the arm till right now.
Yeah, yep. You would think with all of this padding, that it would be impossible to bruise anything. But, and I'm here to tell you, despite what you might have heard in previous events, bouncing does not work.
It
It
was in the
just-
movies.
No,
Yeah.
it cleared up a lot
Yeah,
since,
somebody said the other day, well, you're looking better, and I said, well, it didn't take much. I figured I'd say it before Susie did, see, that's. Is what it is, right?
Yep. It's not bad.
You going camping this weekend?
I'm so tired.
Huh?
How are you today?
You did?
Oh, getting bigger, better.
Oh, better. Oh, bigger, okay.
Well,
Just don't have it yet.
Yeah, let's see, what, by mine?
Don't have it yet.
Huh?
Still doesn't have bunk beds.
Bunk beds?
Probably not.
No,
Why?
but
I told you.
Make them.
it sleeps 6.
Okay.
And I guess if you're really crowded, you could put 2 more.
Abby, haven't I warned you about talking to you?
Is that not working?
Who went ding ding?
Jack.
Oh. Hi, Jack.
Well, he's not in there yet,
Oh.
because this can't connect.
I didn't kick it. Thought about it, but didn't.
She got, I'm saying it's not connected to your number.
Says your chocolate sugar.
You know, it's not.
Oh, that fix that. I should look it over there.
Doesn't make sense.
Still says no connection. Cannot connect with the network. And we have.
Probably didn't pay the bill.
Oh.
It's Tom's fault.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I'm kind of moving. I'm gonna hang out. I just wanted to.
Excuse me.
Anyway.
I was gonna.
How's Genevieve? Oh, I just wondered how
Bad,
Genevieve
she's in
did.
manufacturing degree.
Yeah.
So
One second.
we're trying to figure out when that's gonna be.
How did I guess you?
All right.
Yeah. We
I
want
don't,
to
this connect everyone.
Well,
Oh.
I'll certainly.
we should have, be worrying about the things I want to do.
Oh, all right, I'll pick
Oh,
that.
everybody, well, everybody else is saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I
My
just
sister has
messaged
it.
somebody and they said they could
Next
still
Maybe
see
he
us.
does.
Years
Maybe he
ago.
can't.
But
Does
no, it's
Genevieve,
Not fun at
does
first.
Genevieve
I
have to,
anticipate that. You're gonna have a challenge.
Okay.
Jack can hear us.
We'll work it out with Jack.
I can't.
Oh,
Her husband was saying they were exhausted, so
but everybody
I
else is
went
still
out
on.
to drive them home. It was in October. when
So
we
if we
did
said,
it.
Chris, can you hear me? She can answer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was right north of,
What?
Jimmy Road, north of 92.
Mhm.
We just, it was like we off early, ran into it. It was a big,
Of mine,
Yeah.
34 feet,
Dave.
but just like mobile homes, they
it was
include the top of that,
because
so
it
Yeah,
snowed.
yeah,
living space is
yeah.
about 30 feet, but when I got the slide out, it's about 10 feet
Are
wide.
you talking to
So
those
we were
that
about a
are
mile
registered?
from
You
there,
have
stopped,
two in
so
the front
they
and four in
escorted
the
us
back
in.
seat, but they also.
No, actually,
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
queen size bed,
She was
well, technically it would be in the
just
front where
another
the hitch is.
stressor.
Sure.
And then, because I've got a rear living room,
So anyway, I'm thinking. the
I
sooner
have a
the better.
couch that
Oh, we'll
I
talk
just
about
lift up
that.
on the
Yeah,
couch.
it'd be a minimum.
What,
Fold
what
out.
do you want?
And you could sleep two on that, it'd be
Do
a tough, but you
already
can.
have tickets for
And then if you really want to, you can drop
She
the
was thinking
the
right
table
after
down,
the
but
meeting.
we
Are you
don't.
talking small bales?
So what is it?
And I've got
That's good, I'd be.
not a nightstand, but whatever you want to call it,
Smalls,
cabinet or whatever.
smalls are going.
Next couch on one side, and I put my CPAP machine on.
But that's.
We're gonna be
Like
staying.
said, if you were to put a stack of stuff on.
I got light interior and stuff so that it
Park
appears
zone.
What now?
it is, I got fireplace.
Yeah.
Hey,
So you got luxury, don't you?
yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted, in part because that's what we were gonna take to Texas.
Yeah.
And so,
No, it's fine. I'm good. I'm good.
I figured,
I figured. you-
What happened?
most
to
of the
it?
time, if
Well,
I
I'm
was
still
with the
hearing.
fireplace without having to run the furnace in Texas.
Evidently, we're having,
Oh, okay.
let's see what happened here.
We're gonna have a chat.
I've
tried that several
No, I know that. I'm in agreement.
Technical issues.
Good, how are you?
System study, password code.
Partner doing a good job?
I don't know what it is.
Your partner doing a good job?
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
Adjusting to the kids real well.
Like I said, I asked Chris Estel and she
Yeah,
can
I'm
still
pretty
hear
good.
us and
He
see
doesn't
us,
prep us
so.
with.
that's an excellent.
Yes, we will. We'll talk about that later.
Chase rabbits?
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Oh, where's the back?
I know, I got up because Jack was trying to log in.
Yeah.
I heard that and that's.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Any-
I actually did that. I did
So what
that.
are we telling to do?
No, she did it. Or I did it for her.
What's
All right.
Getting right there.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Yeah, I give my neighbor, buddy,
Yeah.
one.
Oh, he won't do that.
And then,
He knows, he
and
knows.
then I was forewarned,
So apparently we're selling.
if I give the other buddy the neighborhood one, they can try to do it on the way back to the block, not while they're paying for the block.
Yeah.
Because
I'm just gonna-
he didn't want to have it. Cause I got two, so I got the other buddy in my street too,
How come you get that?
so.
No, that vest is pretty hot today.
It's probably nicer in here than it is out there with that vest on.
Well, that's probably true.
I should have brought the dog.
He's in the car. I figured you guys want a productive meeting, so.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, Chris, can you say something?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Hey.
on.
Yep, I can see you guys, I can hear you guys. Can you see and hear me?
Well, we can now, but nothing's on our screen, so it's weird.
Okay, yeah, I took a picture of the screen to send to Abby so she could see if somebody was on, but I don't know how to help you guys either. I'm not an IT professional, sorry. But I can
Yeah,
see and hear you, so.
I don't know how, if anybody else wants to get on, how they are. I think,
Yeah.
So you carry dog trees with you?
I'll just have
Carry
Jack
dog
call
trees. Are you
myself.
hungry? No, I was just thinking if it feeds them people instead of dog trees, I don't know.
You never know.
Well, I had dog treats in my car we could get and experiment, you know.
It's for me.
Of course.
Not the
Okay,
dog.
what's for Lee, meeting me at dog food?
He eats those.
Beef flavor.
Here, what's information?
Can I meet your dog sometime?
Yeah.
It's.
Whatever.
I didn't even know who that was.
Guess
It's a
what?
cute dog, is it?
Yeah.
What kind was he?
I think he's got a little malady. Yeah, but he's mainly for chickens.
We went to travel for a year, that's why you did training with him, because he's in a truck school.
You know, if
Graduated.
you'd asked, I'd have give you one.
What, a tree?
German Shepherd.
One's a.
Dave's want to get rid of one of yours. Oh, not mine.
I own a melon law, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun.
All right, it's 1:00. Let's call this meeting to order.
Do we have an issue with technology?
We do, but it sounds like everybody's still on. I know, INCS is trying to enter. I told him, that's Jack. I told him to call me and I put him in speaker.
Do we have like a max, like 12 or something?
We shouldn't. We've had more than 12 on. It's just doing, it says it can't connect to the internet, but apparently we're still on, so.
Okay.
Here he is.
The brownie color, black.
All right, I've got Jack Reed's on speaker, so, we're gonna go ahead. Meet with interim director. Call this meeting to order. Any public comments here? Limit to 2 minutes. Any public comments? Any public comments? No, don't know what to tell you people in there. We do know that sometimes we have technical issues. So,
Wish we could see who was on.
and it's got Board of Supervisors weekly meeting via Zoom for technology availability, and we've got people who are on. Somebody else is in the waiting room, but we don't have a way to let them in. So, meet with interim ambulance director. Go ahead.
And Judy, before we get started, I just wanted to make sure that it's on the agenda for a possible closed session under 21.5 sub 1 sub I. Just, you're no longer requesting.
No.
Closed? Okay.
I'll do it up.
So, and if it's easier, I'd like to present, to have the conversation. Certainly appreciate the board allowing me to be here. I'm Paul Groof, used to be your HR guy. So back in the day, I think Lee was one of the first guys that helped hire me. So I'm not an attorney. So I know that I just want to make sure it's clear that none of this is intended to show any sort of pending litigation. Okay, and I know the idea generally is that we want this to be an open conversation with the board. That, you know, since it can't be considered pending litigation, certainly I would anticipate it not being in a closed session in a board meeting in upcoming meetings. So, you know, I think for the purposes of this conversation, you can kind of consider me as your part-time temporary HR guy. Now, overall, from an outsider looking in.
Well, wait, just so I can make sure I know whose roles are where. We have an HR guy. So have you
No,
been
I'm
hired
just-
by the county?
No, I'm just saying I just want this to be a meeting where we can have a conversation to try to avoid any sort of litigation. As an HR guy, I've taken, I've spent a lot of time looking at some of the decisions and the comments and the things made. And I find there to be a number of concerns with it. And I just wanted this to be an open opportunity to present those back to the board. So.
And if I can interject, Jack actually suggested that I sit and talk with you guys.
Yeah, so this meeting is, Jack had recommended that this is what we do.
Yes.
So, you know, overall, I think there have been some mistakes made, some concerns with the process overall. You know, overall, I'd
Can I ask
say.
you a question?
Sure.
Are you being paid? Are you being paid to be here?
Is that, I don't know that that's relevant.
I just,
Yeah, I don't know that it's relevant.
But the county's not paying you.
No.
county's
okay,
not paying.
no. So I think part of it is, you know, the possibility, I mean, as we look at this, I know that this kind of all started back with an investigation and allegations of an inappropriate relationship. To start, based on what I know of what took place, I would argue that that was ever proven. So based on the information given to me, I would make an argument that that wasn't ever proven to begin with. But for the sake of argument, let's say it is, let's say it was proven. Is the County Board of Supervisors obligated by law to follow your employee handbook? Chauncey, are they?
I'm sorry.
Are they obligated to follow the employee handbook?
Is this a presentation or?
I was
I
just
don't-
asking. Again, we
I
wanted
mean-
this to be an open conversation. If you don't
Okay.
want to answer questions.
Well,
you can.
this is unclear. Maybe you can kind of talk to, you guys are coming in with a meeting with the ambulance director. She brought an outside individual to make a presentation, it sounds like, about some issues that I'm not sure if the board is aware where we are and
Well,
and
that's
what
what-
the purpose of this is.
Sure,
So you're
so-
talking about inappropriate relationships. Let's just start at the beginning.
So let me just continue then. So if indeed you are required to follow the handbook, you have a whole handbook section about, it's under 3.9, employment of relatives. I know this, I think I wrote this. And it says that members of an employee's immediate family will be considered for employment on the basis of their qualifications. The immediate family may not be hired, however, if employment would A, create a supervisor subordinate relationship with a family member, have the potential of creating an adverse impact on work performance, or create either an actual conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict. Okay, it goes on to say that also applies to romantic relationships. Again, also, my statement is I don't know that that's been proven, but I think that was the basis of the board's actions. So the
And
policy
which
goes on to
actions?
say if
Which
one
actions
of the
are we-
conditions outlined, if one of these conditions outlined should occur, meaning it creates a supervisor subordinate relationship, potentially creates an adverse impact or an actual or a real appearance of conflict of interest, that attempts will be made to find a suitable position within Jefferson County to which one of the employees will transfer. Did that happen?
Which actions are we talking about by the board?
As to, if my understanding is there's been a whole bunch of stuff about allegations of inappropriate action, inappropriate relationships.
Between,
So if that's the case, did you take any action to find out whether it was a different suitable position? My belief is no, you didn't. It then goes on to say, if employees become immediate family members or establish a romantic relationship, the county will make reasonable efforts to assign job duties to minimize the problems of supervision, safety, security, or morale. I don't think that was done either. If accommodations of this nature are not feasible, the employees will be permitted to determine which of them will resign. If they can't, then the board makes the call. So in my perspective, that is a big part of the rest of the conversation. Okay, so if there was an allegation, my belief is that this board didn't make a decision to put Judy into this position permanently because of this allegation of an inappropriate relationship. Okay, would any of you disagree with that?
I'm just listening right
Okay.
now.
So, okay, so let's just follow that logic. If that's the allegation, then that would be in violation of policy? No, you have a policy that addresses it. In fact, there was no violation of policy because it didn't even rise to the level of discipline. Okay, so I would say there's no way you could hold that against an individual because you didn't even make an attempt to discipline. Under the disciplinary section, if there is a situation that happens with an employee that is believed to not rise to the formal level of discipline, then the handbook as written says that you can offer a letter of clarification. That wasn't done either. Okay, in fact, after all this, you immediately promoted her. So are there any performance concerns? Again, I'm trying to get to, the decisions by the board not to make this appointment, to make it a permanent position of director of the ambulance. So performance concerns? No. Each one of you individually have told Judy to her face what a great job she's been doing. And that's on audio. We have that on audio. So I know each one of you individually have told her what a good job you think she's doing.
So that means Judy has taped what we're saying without telling us she's doing that?
Well,
If that happened?
It doesn't,
No,
I
I'm
mean,
just asking you.
It's been said in board meetings too.
yeah. So there's other ways.
No,
There's
I
other-
just wondered.
Sure.
And what about the Iowa at-will employment? Iowa workforce, how's that look about? I thought Iowa was state, you can just let anybody go for whatever reason.
Well, you can. Are you terminating her?
who are we
No,
talking
I'm
about?
just
Okay.
asking you a question.
Can you give us the bottom line first? Because I just feel kind of like everything's scrambled. and
Well, we'll
there's
get
a
to it,
lot of
yeah.
work.
So-
But I need like the big.
The big
bottom
picture
line
is me
and then-
sharing my concerns over the process the board has taken in this entire recruitment selection process. Okay, so as an HR guy, I'm looking, well, why wouldn't she have gotten the job? My belief is it's because you believe there was an inappropriate relationship. And we know that. We know that people that were part of the interview team have told her that, and that's on audio, that that's the reason. Okay, but this board in your action took no discipline against her, and it's not against your policy. So performance concerns, each one of you have individually told her that she's doing a great job. And so has so has Jack, the HR guy. So he told Judy that he and his partner both recommended to this board that she be hired. Okay, so as an HR guy, I'm looking at it going, wow, now we've got, all the board thinks she does a great job. The HR guy and his partner said that's the recommendation. And then when I learned about the performance review, my understanding is she had a performance review recently and invited staff to come. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. In the HR world, that's called the 360-degree evaluation. And in my experience, only strong, confident leaders are willing to let their employees come forward and say whatever they want to say. So I thought that was a huge positive. Additionally, it's my understanding now that there's been a petition started by employees to maintain her employment. As an HR guy, I can tell you, I've never seen that before. So the big picture summary there is she's had outstanding performance reviews her whole career, zero discipline. Every one of you have told her individually how great of a job she's doing. The HR consultant recommends her. Staff told you they want her in person and also via that petition. Okay, so again, this whole point is we're just trying to avoid litigation and just say, hey, give this some thought. From an outsider looking in, I'm going to tell you things that I see as problematic, and that's what I'll go into now. In my opinion, the biggest negative voice in this entire process is somebody I'll just say I'll call him number one. This is an individual that took part in the interviews, okay? And I think that, from my perspective, that appears to be the person that has the biggest negative voice against Judy, okay? Now, from what I've been told, my understanding is this started when a county employee, we'll call that individual number two, was turned into the state for working outside of the scope of their job, okay? So Judy has an ethical and a legal responsibility that if she finds out that happened, she has to submit it to the state, okay? That's just when all this stuff seemed to have started. This didn't happen just once, it happened twice. Now, number one, is my understanding, had a legal obligation to file a report as well, or do some sort of reporting back to the state, but didn't do that, okay? And now it's my understanding that number one and two may be close personal friends and even vacation together. So that certainly seems, from my perspective, to be a huge conflict of interest. And it does certainly sound like the start of a whistleblower complaint, and clearly retaliation. On April 24th, okay, that's one area. Another one is on April 24th, this board promoted her. Dee made a motion to increase her wage. Lee asked, will she have all the rights and responsibilities of the director? And Dee said, that is the intent. Now, in listening to Jack's comments, my understanding is he said that she's actually doing a better job than Brian, but was denied the raise, okay? I think at the time it was discussed that that was a budget reason. But I think everybody, and tell me if this isn't true, that everybody's belief is she's doing two jobs, plus that of a paramedic, okay? So here you have somebody that's doing more work than the previous employee, but still denied a raise. And then the ironic part is I think the very next agenda item was to hire a consultant to do work in the ambulance service. That you were willing to pay, I think one of the quotes was $10,000 to $15,000. To me, that seemed odd when I first saw it on its face, because it's like, wait a minute. I thought there wasn't any money available, yet we're willing to do this to spend more county money.
And I believe that didn't go anywhere. So
Right, and I
don't
understand.
know.
Yeah, I do know that.
Yeah, I think several people applied, including you, to do that.
I did,
Yeah.
and I have other questions about that too.
Sure.
But now since then, I think other county employees have gotten raises. I think the sheriff's office employees have gotten raises. Roads people have raises. I think the county attorney's office just recently got a raise. So, and then the next few meetings, the part that I found was a bit surprising was there were lots of conversations of what do we pay the new ambulance director? Conversations about what happens in Washington County. And I think we expanded it to pay up to $95,000 a year. So the previous employee, Brian, was making what, 80, 85? Judy's what, at 65? So he's making 80, 85. So from my perspective, the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors is saying that's the going rate for this type of work. But when she gets the job and is doing more than what was asked of the previous one, nothing. And now the whole conversation has been, we better increase that amount to upwards of $95,000 a year. And who are the two people you interviewed? Two men. You know, again, from the outside looking in, it does seem odd that the previous employee is a man, makes 80. Judy takes the job, is doing more work at 65. And the conversation is let's consider offering the new employee 95. So I don't know how many.
Up to 95.
Huh? Up to 95. Correct.
So
So
you do know that the prior ambulance director did go out and help Judy learn.
yep.
So, you know, it's not like she could start that right away. I'm just.
Well, and that's my point of discussing the board's comments to her previously. This would be different if you said, hey, Judy, you know what? You're doing the best job you can, but you're really not doing very well in these 4 areas. See, that would make sense to me, but that's not the case. That's why I started by saying every one of you have told her to her face what a great job she's doing. So the reason you're not picking her isn't because of performance. It must be something else.
What do you mean not picking her? We haven't made a decision yet.
Well, and I listened to that meeting as well. So we'll see. Hopefully that's the goal here, is that maybe we don't even run into that issue.
The goal here is to make a pitch for your client here.
Nope. So the June 10th meeting, the Board of Supervisors meeting, there was a discussion about the ambulance director and whether it had to be posted and why not just promote Judy. Dee noted it's not on the agenda. She said it twice. This isn't on the agenda, which I think is correct. You said, Chauncey, are you there? This isn't an agenda item. And your direct quote was, it's your meeting. You can, present the agenda any way you want. Now, according to the Iowa Public Information Board, they would disagree with that. You can't make it any way you want. So you cannot present the agenda any way you want.
Will you restate the question? What was the question that was asked?
That Dee said, Chauncey, this isn't on, you can watch it. It's on the June 10th meeting.
Which is not on the agenda?
The conversation that you were having at the time wasn't on the agenda. The board chair told you that, and you directly said, it's your meeting. You can, present the agenda any way you want. So I'm just saying the Iowa Public Information Board will disagree with your statement. This board talks about transparency over and over and over again, but it seems pretty willing to avoid transparency when it comes to Judy. We continue with that conversation. And again, I listened to this quite a few times and I wrote it down. This is what Chauncey said about the public hiring process. I think there is some confusion about the public hiring process. Whether the proper process was maybe or maybe not followed in the past. I think that's his way of saying, hey, we might not have done it previously, but going forward, we should probably do it the correct way. And then this continues his quote, almost universally speaking, government jobs are not just handed out by county supervisors. There is a public application process that we owe it to the taxpayers to find the best candidate. I think it would have been completely improper to essentially offer jobs to anybody without the public and open hiring process. I completely agree. Dee had said that as well at some point. It's a public position. It has to be posted. Yet months later, and again, we had anticipated going into closed session, so I'll be cautious that since that clear directive from Chauncey that it would be a completely improper to essentially offer jobs to anybody without public notice and opening hire process, is it possible that's happened multiple times in this county? That you have had positions filled that weren't publicly posted? Why the inconsistency? So why is Judy being treated differently than other departments and offices? State and federal law didn't change. Civil Service Code didn't change. There must be some other reason behind it. The other concern, my understanding of the interview, when you interviewed her, I believe the second time, have any of you been part of a more poorly run interview? Judy was accused of abusing prescription drugs.
Hang on, this is a closed session meeting that we had with her. So, I mean, if you want to open in this, but you're not talking. This guy's talking.
Yep.
It was your closed meeting.
I know,
So,
yes,
And
and it's fine, he can.
so
say
anything this guy's saying is coming from you?
no,
No?
No.
Well, then it's her closed meeting. It's her right to have that closed. You can't just open it, man.
open what?
I
The
gave
statements
him
that were made
permission
during
to
the
talk
close-
about it. I gave
Correct.
him permission to talk about it because I feel that that is part of the reason why the board is doing what they're doing.
Okay, so essentially these words are coming from you then, because he wasn't there, right?
He was not there, no.
Okay,
Now, and also in that meeting, yep,
Just for clarification, for me, only interviewed her once.
okay, that was the meeting then. And then also in that meeting, it was accused that other employees are having sex at work. So I don't know if you guys knew that was an accusation about your office. I don't know if you want to have any sort of an open conversation with the board about that. But as an HR guy, I have been doing this for what, 30, 35 years? Never seen anything like it. And I think what the county attorney and your HR person was in the meeting and nobody stopped this? Were these personal questions brought up about any of the other candidates? I would certainly hope so, or again, it would reek of discrimination. So why are we here? Jack called Judy, and again, that's on tape too, if you guys want to hear it. And what he told her was specifically, hey, Judy, because of the position you have been painted in, okay, think that through. Your HR person is telling her that she's been painted into a corner. That he said, I would recommend that you request a meeting with the board. And if you do that, Dee will call me, Jack, and I'll say, and she'll say, hey, she wants to have another meeting, and I'll agree. Okay, so a question I have is, did the board direct Jack to have that conversation? And if not, were you aware that that was happening? That's why we're here, is because your HR guy called Judy and said, hey, I think this is what you should do to help manipulate the board. My statement, not his. He told her that he had recommended not hiring one guy because he's a volunteer firefighter. That he told Judy, that he told this board, one of the applicants is a volunteer firefighter. Don't hire them because Jack knows what volunteer firefighters are like. Is that illegal? It's certainly improper. Is there some reason that this board isn't a fan of volunteer fire departments?
Wait, how would we know that?
It was an open meeting.
It was an open.
Yeah, Jack told us that he told you that.
I think, but I want to back up on that for just a minute.
Sure.
For clarification. The question was directed to the individual of the number 3. About 100% commitment to the ambulance service. And the individual, through the conversations, wasn't ready to commit 100% by his own statement.
and Lee, I would counsel we just not talk about other
Okay,
applicants. This is,
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
for a different matter.
And then Jack goes on to say that he talked to Dee about it and told her that there's an Iowa law that protects volunteer firefighters and that he would avoid doing it because once you did that, you would lose the power to control him.
And I took,
No,
you heard a
what he
recording of this
told me-
conversation?
There was a law that for volunteer firefighters, you have to let them off the job if they're called. And so I think that was the reason that,
Correct. My
but he told
heartburn.
me
Yeah.
that like way early on in the process.
Well, and that's my heartburn is why, I mean, a lot of the counties I work with struggle to find terrific first responders. So it was surprising to me that there would be a recommendation to say, don't hire this person because of that.
We haven't made a decision.
Fair enough. Jack also told Judy that he and his partner had recommended Judy to the board and said, I have no idea what the board is doing or what they are thinking. And that he thought that Dee is probably the biggest wild card. He told her that having the employees share their candid responses to the board was not well received. So what he told her was when she invited her staff to come and have an unfiltered conversation with the board, that this board did not like that. That was not well received. That's what Jack told
I just
Judy.
ask, was that the day that you brought a bunch of folks in and you handed
Yes.
them pieces of paper and then they?
No,
read
those
stuff?
were statements that they had wrote.
Okay, I
prior
just
to
saw
that,
you
yes.
handing them all of them.
Yeah, they asked me to hold them
Mhm.
and, because I didn't know.
Well, that
whether they were
clarifies
gonna
some
stay.
things.
Sure. But
I guess I
yeah.
didn't,
Again, this might be, I'm just saying what Jack told Judy was that was not well received by the board. And had she called him in advance, he would have told her, do not do that. So my question there is when did that conversation happen between Jack and the Board of Supervisors? If it did, that would appear to be in violation of open meeting laws. Jack also said that, again, number one, created a liability for the county and that Chauncey said, yes, I know it. Okay,
I'm confused. What are we
that
talking about?
because of the interview questions brought up by that person I'm calling number one. Remember the interview she had that I said
Oh,
that
okay.
created a liability and Chauncey agreed and said, yes, I know it. Now, my understanding of any sort of a claim of attorney-client privilege is waived if somebody that's part of it tells somebody else, but that'll be a different question for a different day. Additionally, Jack shared that, you know, that there was a script that he wrote for Judy, that he's like, here's kind of the script that I would recommend that you use to the board today. So this is what he had stated that she should share with you today. And I quote, I also want to, another point I want to make is some of the things asked of me or were alleged, I think he means alleged, but I also want to, another point I want to make is some of the things asked of me or were alleged in my other interview was not only not appropriate, but not legal. I know that's kind of hard to follow. It's a triple negative, but he's telling her, the way I read that is Jack is admitting that there were improper and illegal questions or actions taken on that, at that interview team. And it's, again, it's on tape. And then the conversation continued that Judy asked, how is it that there are people in the public that are aware of what happened in those closed sessions? So that's interesting to me, that there were only a few people involved, but it was getting back to Judy that somebody involved in that meeting was sharing it publicly.
Can I ask, have you heard a recording of any of the closed session meetings?
Then we go on the Board of Supervisors discussion,
Have you heard any of those recordings?
the Board of Supervisors discussion about applicants.
No, could you answer his question?
No, he told me he didn't want to answer any questions. You said you just wanted to listen.
Well, you're raising the issue of improper recordings of closed session meetings, and then it
Never
sounds like
said that.
you're, it
Never said
sounds
that.
like you're doing direct quotes from some matter. So I'm curious if there is a recording that you've been provided.
Never said that.
Okay, have you been provided any recordings of closed sessions?
So I'll continue. The Board of Supervisors had a discussion about applicants. Okay, it became obvious who you were talking about. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and everybody who bothered to watch that meeting would witness the Board of Supervisors destroying this woman's reputation. Everybody knew. He said she. Okay, and Lee had followed up by saying, if Judy isn't qualified to get the job, then why would we have promoted her originally? I think is very true. From talking to Judy, her health has suffered dramatically. I've recommended that she file a work comp claim because directly of the actions involved in this whole process. So please accept this as a notification for a work comp claim.
That'll need to be happening in writing, so we can't accept anything verbally. You can file something in writing though.
So you're saying work comp claims have to be submitted in writing?
I'm saying if there is going to be a work comp claim, please submit something in writing.
And that's the process followed by the county?
We're just asking you to, if you gotta make a claim, please submit something.
We just told you verbally. I would guess that 100% of the time it's done verbally. Would you disagree?
You need to,
I'm not,
you need to make that.
just put something in writing.
I will
Just
be
so-
glad to. I mean, I'm in therapy because of the
Okay.
stress that.
I don't know who
This
this
has
guy
been going
is to
on
you, but he can't
because of
raise
this.
these things for you unless,
Yeah.
If you listen, I said I encouraged her to file a work comp claim.
okay.
Additionally, I have an audio tape of a 24-minute conversation between two board members that clearly violates open meeting laws. 24 minutes. Again, this board constantly stresses transparency, transparency, and transparency. Yet I've got a 24-minute audio tape that is clearly in violation of Iowa law. Now, I know I think the Iowa code says that you could all be fined individually between $100 and $500. And I think you have to split the cost of attorney fees. Okay? So in summary, you know, my advice is that this process, the recommendations you've been given, the advice you've been given has been an absolute train wreck. I would recommend that you offer Judy the permanent position at $95,000 a year and provide back pay to avoid any potential additional liability. You are under no obligation to continue the recruitment. You could stop today, right? Rule of holes. If you're in one, quit digging. Fix your HR, fix that process, make sure that you're being consistent countywide. As we talked years ago, that's the biggest liability that county government can get into is when they stop being consistent overall. You know, I know it's been a difficult conversation, but I hope this conversation is treated as it's intended, just as kind of a wake-up call that we might not have done things great, so why not take some positive steps to fix it? You know, and this is, again, I know we talk about transparency a lot, so to me, we're here. I don't believe you can go into pending litigation because there is no threat of litigation here. So this would be a perfect time. You have staff here, you have employees here. You know, if the board's willing, we'd love to have a conversation about the decisions you made or what your thoughts are going forward. I appreciate your time.
Judy, I got a question here. You guys mentioned a petition. Is this the petition you're talking about?
I seen this on Facebook the other day. I didn't know anything about this until
Okay.
I opened Facebook. But
Okay.
yes, I have nothing to do with that.
So when, I guess your associate, who should we call?
Friend.
Friend.
Okay. When your friend mentioned there's a petition, is that the one you're talking about?
That is the one yes, that's what
Okay.
he's talking about. I just seen it yesterday on Facebook.
You saw it on
I was
Facebook?
just made aware of it yesterday.
How'd you come across it on Facebook?
I looked at it on Facebook. It's on my newsfeed.
It's on your newsfeed?
Mhm.
Is this the newsfeed?
Somebody posted it to our somebody who has access to help update things on our Jefferson County ambulance. They posted it, yes.
Who's the administrator of that page?
That would be me. I did not. I did not make that post on here at all. I
Okay.
did not put it on here. If I put something on here, it'll say that it was submitted by me. If you look at our Facebook post, it will say my name on it if I've posted it to this.
I'm just
account.
I'm just looking at a county website that that you're the administrator of, that has a posting of this petition.
I can
So-
show you exactly.
No,
I mean, I'm
it's okay.
telling you, if I go onto Facebook, our Facebook post, if I post anything on here, it says posted by whoever it's posted by.
If you did
Cassie
post
Regal's
that,
posted it, posted things on here. Brandy has, I have, I think Damien shared a couple things
Judy, who
when he was
posted
here.
that?
well, let me just ask, if you had posted it, that could have been an issue, right?
Yeah, I didn't post it, but
But if hypothetically you did, that wouldn't be,
how would that be an issue?
well,
It's
it wouldn't,
just
it
their
wouldn't be proper, would
support.
it?
I mean, is there
County
anything,
website.
I mean, is there something against people doing this in the county? I've never been told there was.
Okay.
Yeah, and the big
Well, I mean,
picture to me is
hang on, hang on.
you have
Hang on.
you have a bunch of employees that are sharing publicly that they've got the right person for the job.
I gotta ask Judy, so
That's the big picture here.
you can see how posting a petition to hire you on a county-run website could be an improper use of government
And
facilities.
I will have it taken down. if
Well, no,
that's-
I'm just,
And.
So you
can-
didn't
can-
post it?
No, I did not. You can actually see who posted it.
who posted it? No, see, Brandy G,
She started
she
it.
started the petition, but I think the issue is
This
who
right
posted
here,
it to Facebook.
I did not post it to this. Like I
Okay.
said, it'll tell you who posts these things. You'll see, if you go back to it, Cassie Regal has posted things to it. I've posted things. Brandy has posted things. I think some others have posted things. It'll tell you who posts those.
Well, can you find out? Because frankly, in the handbook, there's a conflict of interest policy, that's policy 3.12. It says using the resources of the county for personal gain is a direct violation. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
I did not personally do this. I'm
Okay.
telling you, I did not.
There's
do
also an
this.
Iowa code that talks about employees of political subdivisions using their time, facilities, equipment, and supplies for their own personal gain. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
Okay.
policy
so-
3.9 is a policy
Hang
about
on, so-
employment of relatives. You didn't follow that one,
So
so
do you-
why would we
hang on,
assume
man.
you'd
I'm
follow this one?
doing an interview here. So
You're doing an
she-
investigation?
No, doing an interview. So Judy, if we can find out who posted that, it might be useful, okay?
I am looking right now on Facebook. It'll tell you who does it.
Well, I mean, is this
Like I said-
related to the agenda item?
She's talking to her.
Is this agenda item?
Yeah, this is a meeting with the county interim ambulance director. I'm not
Right.
sure why you're here, but
And the conversation is about what other employee did this? So you're gonna take disciplinary action against an employee?
listen,
Sure.
pal.
Please, just, wow. As
Okay.
always,
I'm not gonna say the name, but thank you for looking at that.
like I said, it'll tell you who posts things, like I
Yeah.
said, Cassie Regal has posted things, you know.
See, I will say, when we first started, I did post some stuff on there because we were trying to get the information out about the services there and such. So I know there are some things that we did, but I'm just
I
saying,
get it. My only concern is
I
we
understand.
can't use a government website to encourage somebody's specific employment, right?
Right.
That's,
Right, but I just want to know when you see some stuff that,
oh,
as
yeah,
an outsider, I posted some things, but I posted things to benefit us, to let people know we're out there, this is what we're here for. 'Cause
Okay.
just want
um,
to let you know that.
my other question, Judy, is have you been, either CC'd or clued in on any of the emails that Brian's, sent over the last couple of days to myself and the
No,
supervisors?
I have not. I don't know anything about it. I
Okay,
do not speak to him about anything that has to do with whatever he's doing. It's not my business.
did you guys talk about work at all?
No.
Okay, when was the last time he was at the base?
He was just there today. He dropped off, what was it? He stopped by. I think he stopped by to talk to Brandy and them and brought coffee for people.
Okay,
He's a citizen.
Sure.
I've never been told that he's not allowed to be there.
Sure.
I was only told when all of this took place, either myself or you had to be there when he was there, and he just sat there and visited with Bob Jones, who was there getting off work, and brought coffee for some of us, and that was it.
okay.
Just chit chatting. I didn't know he was gonna stop by.
I'm just, and none of the conversations about, anything else relating to his employment came up?
No.
Okay. Have you guys ever talked about that? Okay. All right,
Not my business.
all right.
I have enough of my own too. I don't have time to worry about what everybody else is doing.
Gotcha. That's all I got for you.
Judy, you hear if I say something?
I
think I've met you all. My name's Jess. Thank you very much.
Just,
Hi, Jess.
I know that tensions are high and I don't want to be up here. Okay, I want to be down here. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you guys as a group. I drive from Cedar Rapids to work here. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was here when Kara was here. The reason that I drive from Cedar Rapids is I have never worked with a group of people that work so well together. And let's put Judy aside for a second. That is a huge asset to this county that I haven't worked with Brandy in a while, but I know her well enough that I know that she has my back and I have hers on a call. And we can run a call without talking and knowing what's best for that patient. So that's why I drive the way that I do. As far as Judy goes, I know that everybody's sticking up for her and being really loud about it. I agree with them. Judy has been a great leader. When I was at CARE, she was the base manager. When I was director of operations, we worked really closely with each other, did the scheduling, the billing and everything like that. I enjoyed working with her then. I enjoy working with her now. Judy has a way of being able to be personable with all the employees, but when she's in that building, she's still the boss. Just hearing from employees, I know you've asked and people have been very vocal with you, so I know you don't necessarily need another opinion, but I just felt like since I was here, I'd like to say that for a new service, I think we got a good thing going that can only continue to go forward. And I think that that's a huge asset to this community. And a lot of people don't think about where their ambulance is coming from until their mom won't wake up in bed. And so I'm sorry, I don't want to get emotional, but the Jefferson County people are very lucky we have a quick response time, and I am impressed. Out of all the services I work for, I'm impressed because these people treat these people like their family. It's a smaller community, everybody knows everybody, and I've never worked anywhere like it. So I think that Judy does a good job of making sure that everybody is motivated and she's giving feedback, and I'm proud of her. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. I know that, like I said, you guys have already heard a lot, but just wanted to mention that.
And I also want
to talk about her integrity too, for the fact I worked with her at CARE. I haven't worked with her here because of my health issue and such. But I worked with her at CARE, and I stepped over the boundary and said something
she came right to me, she cracked down on me and she said, this is not allowed. I thought we were good friends. We are good friends because she doesn't, I mean, I shouldn't say she doesn't, she cares. But she's willing to crack down on me and say, this is not happening. You cannot, you can't do this. She's done that twice since we've been in the building. She could have turned her head and looked away. But her integrity of coming down and reprimanding people who need reprimanded, she's done that. She saved us keeping a service here in town. Because if she didn't report these things to the state, they'll come back to her license and they'll come back to you guys. And then we may be waiting for Henry County to come over and answer the 911 call. And I'll tell you, minutes do matter. And like I said, I can't say enough for her. She supported me a lot in teaching and things. And like I said, she has the integrity that if you've done wrong, she's gonna crack down on you. She don't care if I'm related, if I'm a good friend, what, she's gonna crack down on you.
And I just want everybody to know, I didn't know they were gonna say anything. I really
No,
didn't.
she did not
I
know
did
that
not know.
saying
I did
this.
not
I
ask
didn't-
anybody to come here.
Yeah, I don't
to
know
do
if that was
anything.
an appropriate time, by the way, I'm sorry if it wasn't, and we, also I didn't know about this meeting until today, and I just thought we'd drive over here with her, so that wasn't also pre-planned, so.
Hey, Jack, you're on there. You have anything to say?
I don't think so at this time. I think I'll reserve my comments for later when I have an opportunity to refute what Mr. Groof has alleged during his statements today and the information that he's provided, some of which is incorrect and some of it is wrong. I think that it is probably unfortunate, but that Mr. Groof has found the platform today to attempt to trash my company and myself over the fact that several counties that had terminated his employment as an HR person had hired my company. And in the past, he sent me threatening emails. So it's really no surprise to me that he's used this format to seek to do what he did today.
Okay, anything else? If not,
Can I say it?
sure.
It's your meeting.
Well, I know that.
Oh, no, look, you started.
Yeah, be careful too. I just, wanted to go back to something, an issue that was raised, and I understand the issue. The conversation that the board, that the board had at the time regarding, from my perspective, regarding salary. My concern was that we were still paying an individual salary, and paying another individual salary. And for me personally, it was indeed a budget issue to continue to pay somebody, which was the agreement. I'm not arguing any of that, but this was a concern that to pay somebody to do a job that wasn't available to do the job, that you see where I'm going, in other words. So there was a budget issue, and the fact that we eliminated the other position, and so, anyway. It was at least in part a budget decision, that's what I'm trying to say.
And we can, I was for that, and I'm still open to that, so. You've been in that acting role, so I think we can certainly revisit that.
What I'm saying, I guess, is for the record, I voted no.
Yep.
So,
Judy, I'll just let you know, you can't secretly record closed session meetings. I'm not asking if you did, why, put you on that spot, but just so you know,
Yeah,
closed session meetings, there's one recording of it, and it's the one on that tape, so.
I'm-
Okay, just put it out there.
But, it was my closed session and I have every right to speak
Absolutely,
on my behalf
yes,
of what took place during that meeting.
just not secretly recorded.
No.
You can record phone calls, all that stuff, that's legal, but.
Yep.
Okay.
And I knew that. But, it is, it was my closed interview and I felt that it was very inappropriate. Legally, I'm not a stupid person by any means. You can't ask those questions. You didn't ask everybody else that you interviewed. You didn't let somebody throw accusations and false, I guess, false accusations towards them, but you allowed it to happen to me. And to me, that's wrong. It's downright illegal. There is laws. I mean, I've interviewed tons of people in my career. You cannot ask them the things, and you cannot make false accusations like that.
Which accusation was false?
The fact that I abused my drugs and everything else that she threw out that day. And you sit here and said they could ask anything they want.
Well, I don't know.
When
That's what I
Lee-
said.
Lee-
but-
Yes, Lee. Lee asked you, can she actually, can we ask these questions? And you said, it's your interview, you can ask what you want.
So what are we doing here right now, Judy? Are we just throwing accusations back and forth?
No, I just want to know where we're going with this. I mean,
Yeah. I think,
this process.
in my opinion, we're still looking for, you, I remember when I said the 3 interviews that we had, those resumes would be kept in the pile. We were just gonna see if there was somebody out there, just to extend it for a little
What
while.
are you looking for that I'm not already doing? I guess, what am I not doing to show that I'm very capable of doing this job and I want this job? Is there something I'm not doing? Am I not?
I just think it's our
Taking care of-
responsibility to hire the best person for the job. Maybe you, maybe somebody else. It's just, you know,
I'd like to wait, and this is just me, and see how this investigation comes out too,
What
what
investigation?
investigation?
the state thing.
Oh,
Let's not
Okay,
talk
and
about
what does that have to
Let's-
do? What does that have to do with me doing my job? I mean, I'm the one,
I think
It's not
we're going
going-
way out of bounds here. We
Yeah, I mean,
shouldn't
I don't
do this
understand.
think it has anything to do with.
I mean, I did my job. I reported somebody to the
Yep.
state like I have to by
I
law.
think we're getting way out of line here. We just gotta wait, and let the results come out.
Well, can I ask a question?
Sure, anyway.
Oh, please.
Um, I hate having to try to parse my words. Help, Elizabeth. The other day, I won't go there, I'll just go today. We just stated that we're trying to get the best person for the job.
Mhm.
Which then says to me that we have not had the best person for the job apply. Now, let me, okay, or the interviews or the resumes that we've reviewed don't include the best person for the job. Otherwise, we would have, I believe, would we not have selected one of those individuals? So we are, I assume it's been posted again, I don't know. Okay, so it's been posted that we're looking for, still looking.
It's on IMSA. and-
Yeah, but we're still looking for the best person to fill the job. That's what we just said. So is it reasonable? I hate to use the word fair. Is it reasonable and proper and maybe even professional to expect an individual to continue to operate in a capacity while we look for the best person? Because by definition, then we are saying we don't have the best person.
You know, I think that's putting words in your mouth.
No, I said them, so
We-
I'm not putting words in my mouth. I'm just saying.
I gotta be serious.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think we are looking for this, we gave Judy the interim position. That doesn't say you did it for sure.
Right,
If
I agree.
anybody's been given interim position, I can't talk about.
Right.
It is nothing against her.
No, I don't disagree with your definition of interim at all. I really don't. What I'm saying is that it appears to me that we have not, quote, found the best person for the job. That means that there potentially is somebody out there and that the interim will go away. And we will put somebody in the position permanently, but it won't be the interim because the interim is not the best person for the
And we don't
job.
know that yet. How can you say that?
Well, obviously,
But that-
from my perspective, I can say
That's
that,
what I
and again, from my perspective only, I can say that because if we have the best person, let me back that up. We have interviewed people, one who's actually doing the job, and have determined that none of those 1, 2, or 3 meet our expectations as the best person for the job. So we've set them aside because we're going to go out now and we're going to look again for the best person, whomever that may be or may not be. And then if we had, so then, hang on, bear with me. So then nobody applies. So we come back to the 3 resumes. And we say, well, okay, we couldn't find the best person, so we'll settle for one of these 3.
That's not right. That's not fair.
I agree, it's not right.
No,
and
it's not fair for you to say that.
But
You
that's
know,
the perception that people are seeing out in the public, Susie.
That's my
well, you
perception,
know,
whether the public
if you-
sees it
you're
or
in a,
not.
you're in a really good situation here. You can sit here and listen to us talk about this. You know? Most people can't do that when they're being interviewed for a job. I'm serious. We've just opened, what did we do? Open it up for another 2 weeks?
Yeah, we had it open for 3 weeks before that.
I'm glad you can count.
Yeah. So my point simply is that I really don't know for sure how many resumes we've received.
Well, I don't either.
Okay, but the
Okay.
point is that it was whittled down to 3.
So are you saying we need to go back and look at all of them?
No, what I'm saying is that if we, since Dee and
Jack and
presumably
Dr.
Jack
Marino.
and
Marino.
Dr. Marino
And it was the
Re-
same. Go ahead.
reviewed all of the resumes, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they interviewed all of them, but they reviewed all the resumes, and then they did pre-interviews. And the pre-interviews that they did came down to these 3, presumably the best of the bunch, and was submitted to us, in which the other 2 individuals plus the 3 of us participated in the interviews and couldn't come to an agreement, I guess you'd say, in terms of whether to hire any one of these 1, 2, or 3. So it was the decision of the board to move beyond 1, 2, and 3 to look for somebody better. Which in and of itself states that none of the 3 were believed by the board to be good enough.
Lee, do you think it'd be a good idea to wait for the new opening to close before we talk about it?
Personally, no, I don't.
Okay.
I'm just simply asking the question. What does a reasonable person, especially people that are in charge, what does a reasonable person, would a reasonable person expect of an employee that is going through this process? Do we not owe the individual employee, whomever that might happen to be, I can't think of the word. But an end result, a conclusion to this process. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that I can't imagine if I'm doing a job. And quite frankly, I think doing the job well, yet there is a very likelihood based on our actions that we may find somebody out there that we like better, and so this individual is done. I think the common courtesy, professionalism, and everything else. I mean, I guess I can't, we keep saying, well, we haven't made that decision yet. Well, it seems clear to me that we actually have, that we're saying that this individual is not the one that we want. Hopefully, we'll find somebody better. Hopefully. Now, maybe we won't, so then we'll come back and say,
I
well,
got one resume yesterday and sent it to Jack and Dr. Marino
okay,
yesterday.
so, but that's my point. My whole point is that, so hopefully we find somebody better. I believe professionally, professional courtesy, I believe that as employers, that we owe. I can't think of how I want to say it, but I believe what we're doing is frankly is unconscionable. I think that we ought to cut bait. We either need to say,
I don't fish, but
well, I haven't for a long time.
yeah.
But I might though, but I just feel that it would be right and proper for the board to make a decision in terms of, okay, because if you come back and you say, okay, you've got one resume, maybe you get 10 resumes, maybe you'll get 3 resumes, and maybe somebody will come out of that, maybe. And then we'll go ahead and sever ties because you're not the best person. Because we found somebody that we think is better, which is okay. Does this person not have the right to know and to be able to move on without feeling, I just feel like that.
So you're saying that we need to let number one know right now, because it's not fair. I don't think the employment world works like that, Lee. I understand what you're saying.
I also let number 2 and 3 know we reopened it up,
Okay,
so everybody knows
but
that.
they don't have the job. They're not doing the job. And number 2 and number 3, with all due respect, were not qualified based on the job description. Right, wrong, or indifferent, read the job description. They were not qualified. And I'm not saying anything other than if number 1 is not our choice, then let's say so and move on and open it back up and be done with it and see what we get. It's just disingenuous to me to open it back up and hope that we get somebody, but if we don't, we're going,
Well, it sounds like, so no decision has been made. It sounds like what you're saying is you want to make a decision
Yes.
right now. It's not
Well,
on the agenda.
no, it's not on the agenda, but I think that we have an obligation to make a decision. That's just me. I'm just speaking for me, that we have an obligation to make a decision. It's just, I don't know how we can't. We're dragging this out, frankly, in hopes that we can get somebody else in here. But we don't want our current interim director to move on down the road, because we'll be in one mell of a hess if we don't have one. And that, to me, is what we're doing here. We're not looking for necessarily the best person for the job. We want somebody else, but we don't want the person doing the job to leave till we find somebody else. I think that that's the inference that's here. And that's my personal feeling. You can make a solid argument, in my estimation, as to why we need to move on. And I'm not saying that you wouldn't be wrong. I'm just saying that we went through this process. We did everything the way that everybody evidently wanted it done. And what we arrived at last Thursday, was it last Thursday?
Yeah.
Last Thursday was we weren't satisfied with any of them. And so we decided to open it back up again. And so that's where we're at. It's been posted. You say you've got a resume. But we're saying, don't leave till we decide we want to kick you out.
I think
I don't
what we
think we
said
said that.
several years ago when a position in the county was, they wanted more applications, they put it on hold and got more resumes, and that's what we're doing. We want to see if there's more.
But I
I
guess
think-
what I'm asking is of the board, what I'm asking is, I've asked this multiple times, and you say to me, we just want the best person for the job.
Don't you?
I think we've got the best person for the job, but that being said, if the board doesn't think that, then the board needs to say that and move on. And we evidently have said it without having enough. We evidently have not. We've said it by our actions, but not verbally. I mean, I know, I'll just, again, speaking for me, I know if I was sitting in her seat. Okay? And if I was her, it would be painfully obvious to me, as bad as I want this position, it would be painfully obvious to me that this board doesn't feel the same way I do. And that if somebody else comes along, I'm gone. So why do I keep putting my head on the block so that you can chop it off? And that would be my, I'm a different person than she is, but that would be my feeling. I feel like that, it's not me. I feel like that.
We understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I just feel like that if we're not. You see what it looks like? If you're not happy with what we had, but we're gonna hang on to them just in case we can't find somebody better, then we can pull them back out of the drawer. But if there's somebody better, then we're gonna go ahead and send them on down the road. That's a horrible thing
So
to
you
do.
think the only alternative is to just give the job to number one, is that correct?
What I'm thinking is that we established a time frame that everything had to be in by 4 o'clock on June 7th. That was what we agreed to. And that's what we did. And then you and Jack and Dr. Marino, I'm going to be more specific to Dr. Marino, I don't know, went through the resumes that you received, weeded them out through the process, and presumably brought us the 3 best qualified candidates, of which you 3 interviewed before we interviewed, and then they were on the interview process. That was the process. So when you went through that entire process and you did everything and you didn't hire anybody, that says that none of them met your standards, your qualifications. So we're going to put it back out there again and hope for better results.
And we did a similar process last year. It was just different players.
So but the situation is that we've already decided, have we not? That neither one of those 3 individuals met our standard. Otherwise, why would you have gone out and reposted it?
I don't
Lily,
think
I'm
we-
gonna say this one more time. I personally haven't decided. I just wanted to see a few more, resumes. And that's the truth, and if it's almost like you are trying to get us to do this. And that's nothing wrong with Judy. I'm just saying, I want to see more.
And if you see more and you like one of the Seymours,
I don't know him personally.
right, okay, so then that's going to be your go-to Seymour. Fine. Which says that your previous Seymours didn't make the grade.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay, I think what we said on Thursday was nobody's ruled out yet.
Right.
We just opened it up back up. So, anything else for now? I think we've covered that. And,
Is there, I guess I'll ask, is there anything I'm not doing that you want me to do that I'm not proving and showing that I'm capable of doing this position?
I'd like to see a little more on the billing as far as,
I can only do as much as the billing department. I mean,
right,
you
but
understand insurance just like everybody else does. And
However,
I have,
I guess my question
every
would be,
day.
should we look at, having a serious conversation with them? Are they doing their job? Maybe a recommendation there. I don't know. I'm
Yes.
just asking the
And
question.
that is something that I know that I have spoke to the board about. We have to wait at least a year. I believe it is, and then we would reevaluate things. And if you want to talk to them, I will put Cheyenne on the Zoom meeting. She will talk to you whenever you guys would like to speak with her. She's just as transparent as I am. I have nothing to hide. She has offered to get on one of our Zoom meetings if you would like to ask her questions. She is working much, much harder at trying to get our revenue in and doing as much as she can. since we got her as our new team lead, since the old one. And I am on, every day I send her emails about bills that I get or claims that I'm getting. We talk through email, we talk every Wednesday on billing. I'm hammering it every day. I'm looking at it. Okay, tell me why this one isn't in collections yet. It's been this long. Is it in collections? This. There's some things that we've actually put out since I've stepped into this position into collections because she had not moved them into collections yet. It's like, why are these people not in collections? It says it's patient bill. It was patient refusal. We know 99% of the time insurance is not going to pay for them. Those need to be sent directly to the patient. Okay, that's what we'll do. And that's what she's been doing. So there are things that I am doing on the billing side, and I sent 8 weekly updates to you guys. I've spoke about it in my meetings with you guys. I'm just asking, is there something I need to be doing that I'm not doing?
Anything?
Nope.
And we all know that insurance is frustrating. So, I mean, we're setting out there. I mean, I see it in my explanation of benefits. I know you guys do too, even when it's Medicare. And my supplement sometimes is 60, 90 days out before they pay their portion of it.
Sure.
This situation with the hospital, I'm not sure we're out of the woods on that, but it's not that they haven't been working with it. As is indicated, we have a contract for a year. At that point, we agreed to go back and look at, I don't remember what we're getting, $22 a call, I think is what we're getting billed. And maybe looking at a percentage, we've always considered that, the board considered that. I'm not, and this is a conversation for that time, but I'm not gonna be satisfied with the billing company in terms of what they're wanting to pay based on what I believe is their dropping the ball, but we have to wait before we can cross that bridge.
Yep, okay. All right, there's nothing else. Yeah, Tom.
I just have a quick question, just sizzling with it. So with filing a workers' comp claim, do we have an ambulance director in place if that happens? I don't know what the law says, if you can still work while there's a workers' comp claim. So that's-
Usually there's a number they call employee nurse. It's in the safety manual. It's in the employee manual. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, if somebody's off on workman's comp, they can't
That's why I'm just asking.
be doing their job until they're released to come back.
That's why I'm just asking, do we have, I mean, if worker comps claim, I mean, it was mentioned that this is gonna be filed, we have, who would be running the amounts at that time? I'm just asking a question.
You have a recommendation, Judy?
It has not been filed yet, so I'm still there until,
If you did file a claim and had to be off, who would you recommend step in?
there's nobody that can step into my shoes right now. Nobody else has been trained
Right.
to do the billing, to do the CGIing, to do the other stuff that I do on a daily basis. There are some things that people can do.
Practically, who would though? Because somebody has to.
I don't know. I don't know at this point.
Can you,
To be flippant, your base manager would do it if we had one,
well,
but we don't have that position anymore.
I thought you got that job.
No, you don't want to. You want to talk about a goofed up mess? I can't even fly, okay? You know that, right?
Once they throw you out the window, you could fall.
So if there is a workers' comp claim, then we would not have an ambulance service.
Just,
Chris?
right.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna speak on behalf of the safety committee and all the work that we do with work comp. Once you and the HR guys in the room and on the phone, and Joe Benz is on this as well. The first report of any work comp related claim or alleged claim, once the supervisor, departmental head, whether they're elected or appointed, it needs to be filed immediately. You call the company nurse phone number. Judy has a flyer that has all the company nurse information on. So you cannot flippantly say that you're going to make a work comp claim. You have to follow through with it or you drop it. I'm not an attorney. I'm just talking from all the work we have done on the safety committee. Chauncey can speak to that. I don't know if Elizabeth is there or not. Joe can speak to that. but this is a very serious process with a potential work comp claim, and the HR gentleman should speak to that. Thank you.
Just to jump on quick and reiterate, yes, the typical standard process for Jefferson County is to utilize the nurse on-call hotline. When there's injury or incident, you call into that, you report it to company nurse will then create the first report of injury and send it to IMWCA, the workers' compensation carrier. That is the start of the process. So that would be if a claim is being filed, that would be the logical next step, is to make a call into company nurse.
And the claim has not been made, just so everybody knows, nothing's been.
Right, but
But Judy, I'm gonna say this, you have said that you're going to make a claim, and when somebody. in
I
my
did not personally say that.
Okay, let
Let
me
Chris
amend the
finish.
statement. I need to speak on behalf of the safety committee, of which I'm appointed member. When somebody alleges an injury or they have a concern that they're hurt on the job, we have to take that very serious and move forward with that process. So you can't say, my staff can't come to me and say, oh, I twisted my ankle, I'm gonna call it in tomorrow. No, once they tell me they did something at work or they're injured potentially from work, I can call it in as the supervisor. Any one of the 3 board of supervisors member could call that in because they are your supervisor and they could take care of that. So I'm just saying that this process definitely needs to be taken care of. And I just, work comp related injuries are a very important thing. And we have worked very hard in this county to move forward with taking care of employee health.
Yes.
And employee health is very important to you, to me, and to every other county employee.
And I actually just dealt with work comp right before I came to this meeting.
Well, and I gave you the information the other day.
Yes.
But
Yeah, it
I'm
was
just
an
saying,
issue
it
that you
doesn't,
and I dealt with.
it
Yes.
doesn't
I'm
have to
curious.
be you. So thank you for allowing me to speak on
Yeah.
behalf of the safety committee in the process. If you need
Right.
anything further, let me know.
Why is this guy talking about it though? If it's not an issue,
It's my recommendation that
you're making a recommendation that an employee file a medical claim?
I'm making a recommendation that due to the conversation we had, is that her health has been affected by the actions of the county. And if I can't make her file a work comp claim, but I think it's directly, her health has suffered as a direct result of the action or inaction of Jefferson County. You know, the process is to, sounds like, call the 1-800 company nurse. Just because somebody has a work comp claim doesn't mean they miss work. So I know we're jumping ahead a bit.
No, I'm just asking a question. I don't know what.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's it was a great question.
When,
Judy,
the question that was brought up, I mean, when you said that it's gonna be filed, and John said you need it in writing, that's when you kept on questioning, like, a verbal's not good enough, but it's gotta be in writing. So that's why I just thought that it was
Yeah.
being filed, because you
Oh.
did a verbal.
no, the process, okay, so make
Yeah,
sure
I
everybody
understand the
understands, if
process,
you
yes.
wanna file one,
I have to
call
that number.
company nurse.
But you don't have to write them a letter, right? You can just call them.
You call company nurse. It's in the safety manual, it's in the employee health manual. Is that correct? Yep. Yep. All right, there's nothing else. Is there anything else?
Just that I'm gonna file a workers' comp claim if I can't go to the restroom.
All right, you wanna make a motion then?
Yeah, I'm motion to.
Second?
No, don't let I
Thank-
second.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.